If you don't like what's happening in your life, there's nobody to blame but you. And when you start getting off your path too much, the universe steps in. So the billion people, and I do believe it will be that or more, that are leaving early, wrote that into their plan.
Welcome to the Soulful Reminders podcast, your go-to spot for spiritual inspiration, growth, and connection to your true self. I'm your host, Kady. Each week, I invite inspiring guests to share their unique spiritual lessons and insights, helping us all remember who we are at our core. This is more than just a podcast. It's a vibrant community where we'll explore how to unlock our full potential and embrace our essence in every aspect of our life. Life can get busy and overwhelming, but here, we focus on those soulful nudges that remind us of our incredible power. Whether you're seeking wisdom, a bit of encouragement, or simply a moment of inspiration, you're in the perfect place. Grab your favorite drink, get cozy. Let's dive into this journey together because you deserve to shine your brightest. Welcome to Soulful Reminders podcast. I'm Kady, your host. Today I have a world-renowned psychic medium, June Edwards, with me, and let me tell you, this woman has some amazing divine wisdom to share with each and every single one of us today. So I am so excited to have you here today with me, June. Thank you for coming and joining me. I know my audience is going to just adore you.
No, it's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So, June, I know that you have actually died and been in the different dimensions. I would love to hear a little bit more about this experience of yours and how it's
Sure.
the life of you're currently living and where you've been.
So, it's interesting because, we're not the suit that sits here with a soul inside. And the difference between your brain and your soul is I know or I think. Okay. So growing up, I always knew I was never going to live to 30. I just knew it for some reason. I just felt it in my gut.
Mhm.
And when I was 22, I injured my back and I needed back surgery. And I put it off for as long as I could. I put it off for 5 years because I knew if I had that surgery, I was going to die.
Wow.
And it got to the point that the doctors told me I don't have a choice. I need to have the surgery. And the night before I went in, I told my husband, my mother-in-law, I'm like, listen, you better make sure everything's all set with the kids because I'm going to die. No, no, you're not. You're going to be fine. You're just afraid. I'm like, I'm telling you, I know I'm going to die.
Okay, so you have kids.
I do.
How many kids did you have and how old were they at this time?
I'll go into that part of
Okay.
the story. So the night before the surgery, they did an MRI on me with a contrast dye. And I told them that I'd had it once before. I think I'm allergic to it. I had a really bad reaction. I couldn't get off the table for hours. And they're like, oh, that's fine. That's a normal reaction. It happens to everybody. And I'm like, okay, what do I know, right? I'm 27 years old. I am not the doctor. And okay, if that's what you tell me. And sure enough, as soon as they injected me with the dye, I died. And I know everyone's experience is just a little bit different. They're very similar, but different. And I immediately was gone to the other side, immediately. And I could see everything that was happening below to my body. I could hear the nurses talking and see them in the hallway. I could hear the people in the room behind me. Um, but I didn't feel anything because I was not in my body. And then my attention immediately got taken to the front, and there was this huge movie that was playing, and it was literally the movie of my life. And it was like sitting in the front row of an IMAX theater. And I'm watching all of these wonderful times in my life that happened because I had a very difficult childhood, very abusive. And everything they were showing me on the screen were the people that had helped me through my life, the
Mm.
times that I had really enjoyed. And then from behind me, I heard, it's not really your time. You can stay if you want to, or you can go back. It's your choice. And then I'm like, wow, why would I want to leave? And then I'm going through people in my head. I'm like, I'm not going to go back for my family. I'm not going to go back for my friends. I'm not going back for my husband. there's no reason that I'd want to go back. And then it dawned on me that I had two small children. They were like um, 2 and 4, I think. And I knew that they were the reason that I came here to begin with, and that they brought me the most joy in this lifetime. And as soon as I decided I was coming back from them, I was again back in my body instantaneously.
Mm.
And I'll never forget the doctor saying to me, I mean, they'd done everything. They had paddled me, they had injected the lines. He had the table tipped upside down, had been slapping me, saying, "We can't lose you, we can't lose you." I didn't feel a thing because I wasn't there. But when I went back into my body, he looked at me and he's like, "Oh, it's a good thing for you. This is the end of my 30 days. I would have never known that you had died." I'm like, I felt like saying, "You're lucky I decided to come back."
Right. So
Yeah.
when you came back into your body, like was there like a force or something that pushed you back in, or you just instantly
No,
within your
it was
body?
instantly there in my body. And it was the most bizarre. I mean, cognitive dissonance, right? It's so out of your norm. It took me so long to be able to talk about it and process it. It took me about 5 years to be able to talk to anybody about it without breaking down in tears,
Oh, that
because it
love.
just kept flooding me back with all the
Mhm.
feeling from being on the other side.
Yes.
And it's just so amazing over there. It's really amazing.
Yeah, that unconditional love.
It is. And I used to tell people that the two things you take with you is love and knowledge. But now that I've been doing this work for so long, we take all of our feelings with us. I've
Mm.
brought souls through from the other side that are still living in grief, in anger,
Mhm.
um, because they're still very connected to the life they had here when they go to the other side for a long time, until everybody, for the most part, here leaves. They're still very connected to it, and they're very connected to everything they went through here
Right. And they're
until
still
they start to,
processing and healing over there.
yeah, they need to evolve. Exactly.
Yeah.
Um, and Yeah, and like we were discussing before we started, a lot of people that have a near-death experience or a death experience like I have come back and they don't want to be here anymore. They just want to take their own life and go back because it's so amazing.
Yeah.
But if people understand that through meditation, they can connect to their higher self, that part of their soul that's in that fifth dimension, you can get that feeling every time you meditate. It's the highest high there is, and it's amazing.
Absolutely. It's incredible. Like
Yeah,
I
and once you
crave med.
raise your vibration that high, this is when you start getting into the law of attraction, and all the good stuff in life really starts to come to you and your entire perspective of life changes.
Mm. Yes, I agree. And it's such a beautiful thing that you don't have to have an NDE to experiencing that. You
You
can, if
don't.
you have the discipline and you really want to tap into it, it's right there. You just have to I- take the time every day.
Well, it's like anything else, I have a 7-week program that teaches people how to change their energy and balance it so they can maintain the law of attraction and meditate. And every single solitary one of my students has always told me, "Oh, there's no way I can meditate. I can't shut my brain off like that." And I know that. I've said the same thing. But what you don't realize is you're always connecting, even if you don't think you are. Just because you can't see them, they can see you, and you are connecting. And everyone has the capability of doing it, but everyone starts to fall off too if you don't maintain it. And I tell everybody, you brush your teeth 3 times a day, right? Well, you should be meditating at least 3 times a day as well. Nothing comes, the universe gives you the reward because you do the work. There's no free rides anywhere, here or there. If you want the reward, you have to do the work.
We live in a microwave society, and the good comes from the crock pot, right? And the crock pot is doing the work. It's going into meditation and really like scheduling that time to put yourself first. And it's amazing when you do that, the clarity that you get that you can never get if you just plow through life. Have we
Well,
been programmed?
we live in a 3D world. It's that simple. And most people are stuck in the drama of it, the minutia of it. some of them, that's what they came for, but you can always rise above that because this is not where you're staying. No, nobody gets out of here alive, right?
Nope. We don't. That is one guarantee in life, right?
Absolutely.
And I'm not like fearful of that moment. I mean, I think it's hard for those of us that are where loved ones transition. But I'm happy for them.
Well, it's because they think they're gone and they can't see them anymore, but they can, and they're not gone. It's just like a two-way mirror. They're on the other side of that mirror. They can see you, they can hear you, they can even touch you, and they're banging on it saying, I'm here. Can't you see me? I'm here. And they are here. All you have to do is say their name or think about them, and they show up immediately.
Mm. Okay, so Jen, there's a few different directions I would love to take this conversation, but I think one of the best ways to go right now because of your mediumship abilities. And I have been hearing for the last few years how right now it's projected over the next 10 years, 1 billion souls are going to transition.
Hmm.
And that's going to impact every single one of us. I know in the last 2 weeks of probably 5 people that have transitioned, people that I wouldn't have ever have guessed.
So it's all part of the master plan. What people have to understand is this. Um, Everything that's happening in the world right now, they all think it's political. Okay. All around the world, people on each continent think it's politics, but it's
Mm-hmm.
not. So, one of the lessons we have to learn that's in my book is money and balance. Okay. Money is energy. That's why it's called currency. And it's what we use to show for imbalance. When you have too much money because you want power, everything's out of balance. And the whole universe has to stay in balance. This is why you have good and bad, left and right, night and day, right? God and the devil.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been so out of balance for so long. It's an upheaval to go the other way. And this is a war of good and evil. That's all this is. It's not political. It's just playing out on that field.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the God wants your soul. The devil wants your soul. That's the prize. So you have to determine which way you're going. And the masses of people that are here now that are leaving early, that was pre-planned. We pre-plan our life before we come here. We write that story. If you don't like what's happening in your life, there's nobody to blame but you. And when you start getting off your path too much, the universe steps in. So the billion people, and I do believe it will be that or more, that are leaving early, wrote that into their plan.
Mm-hmm.
You can die early outside your plan. I see it happen, but it's not when it's something like that. If you get in the back seat of a car and you're a teenager and you know the driver's drunk, um, that for the most part, if you die, is outside your plan. And you knew it before you did it, but it's outside your plan most of the time. Okay. But the masses that are dying, that was all pre-planned and they knew it. And
Mm-hmm.
they're just getting out early. And for a while, I'd be like, geez, I envy them getting out early because it's still going to get a lot worse before it gets better.
Yeah,
But it's going to be incredible. It's
it
going to
will.
be incredible. We've entered the age of Aquarius.
Yes.
We're going to have 20 years in this world of pure bliss. And
Mm.
it will continue for 200 years of being really, really good before anything starts to change at all. But we've been through the worst of it. It's only going to get much, much better.
Yeah. So I feel like there's still some tough times ahead. I feel like we haven't gotten through the worst of the worst.
We
We've
have
been through a
not.
lot,
We have not. There's
but I
still a
feel like
lot
we have a
worse to
good
come.
5 years of like navigate.
No, we have probably another less than a year, believe it or not.
Oh, okay. That's great to know. I
Things
love
have been
hearing that.
happening. So the timeline has also been sped up because time is a very
Yes.
relative thing.
I feel
Okay.
like we just had a massive
Yeah.
timeline shift in the last week.
The faster you move, the slower time is.
Mm,
Okay. We've actually slowed here. So time has actually sped up for us. That's
interesting.
that's what, yeah, it's about. So on the other side, when you're moving, the speed of light or more,
Right.
it's about 3.5 to 4 years of our years to 1 year on the other side.
Mm,
That's the difference. That's how much slower we're moving. But because we've actually regressed, people weren't going out, they were staying in their homes. Things started to move slower here. Time actually sped up.
mm.
Yeah, so
Interesting.
it's going to be you're going to see all those major shifts and things start getting incredibly good in less than a year at this point.
I love hearing that. It's great
Yeah,
news.
it's not that much more of a struggle. We've been through the struggle, you know. There's still some tough things coming up, but it's going to get amazing.
So my guides that keep showing me this life of like beautiful balance and harmony, the divine feminine, the divine masculine, and they keep telling me, keep your eye on that. Keep your eye, keep developing your divine feminine within you, and just you're moving into that. Um,
Exactly.
and that's what that's okay. Thank you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's so everything is going to get back into balance because it's been so out of balance.
Right.
And even though the age of Aquarius is an androgynous age, it's
Mhm.
not going to be an androgynous society. That
Mm,
is not going to be the case. You will get back into the divine masculine and the divine feminine because that's where the balance lies.
right.
Yeah.
I love that. This is such an encouraging conversation for me. Thank you for sharing this information. Now, what I really would love to pinpoint to or connect with is because there's going to be so many people transitioning, they're not wanting to continue on this road map that we're currently on to get to this, balanced and harmonious way of living. Um, what sort of advice would you give our listeners today that may be losing some loved ones or may have already just lost a loved one?
Again, they have to understand they're going to a better place.
Uh,
You know, it's kind of like I had a friend whose mom was older and she was very, very sick, and the family didn't want to let her go. Don't die, mom, don't die. I'm like, this poor woman is suffering. Let her go. It's like saying you don't want her to go live the rest of her life in Disneyland for crying out loud. It's beautiful. It's amazing on the other side, and you really have not lost them. They are still there. They're still connected with you. It's a matter of you doing the work and the effort here to stay connected to them on the other side. That's the
yes,
difference.
that's the
But
meditation that you're talking
yeah,
about.
and we're the ones that are doing the work that are left here. You know, we're the ones that are trying to awaken the rest of the world, right?
Mhm.
So that they have that knowledge that we are all still connected. We're all energetic beings. I have a lot of clients that I've taught to connect with their loved ones on the other side through either a nightlight with a yes and no question thing, or one of those touch lamps that they can blink once or twice for questions. I've got one whose fiance, she leaves messages on his cell phone.
Are
She's
you
been doing it now, I
serious?
swear to God, she's been doing it now for about 8 years. He will
Oh
not
my
pick up
gosh,
the phone because it's not as often anymore. It used to be very often because he was really hurting. And
yeah.
I'm like, when I went over there, I'm like, show me this phone. Somebody's messing with you. Somebody sent, there's nothing. No, there's no back. It's not an email. It's nothing. It just pops up on his screen with like a YouTube link. And when you click on it, it goes to the most beautiful thing in the world. It's either a saying, a poem, a song, something. And it's just incredible. It's just
Uh,
incredible.
that is so beautiful. I have heard of that from some of my clients that have gotten like random like links or songs that turn on their phone out of nowhere.
Yeah.
They don't even have their phone set to have
Well,
music.
it's energy and they know how to work it. They're not stupid.
So I have always been told it's more like the evolved souls that can communicate better with us, those of us. Is that true?
So when I died, I went to the fifth dimension. Okay,
Hmm.
that's the lowest level of heaven. That's where the majority of your soul is kept. And they described heaven to me like a layer cake that you go to the level based on how advanced your soul is and your belief system, so
Mm,
that you're in your soul group in that area. Every archangel has a soul group, and you will reincarnate lifetime to lifetime with the same soul group, even though there's millions of soul in that soul group.
uh-huh.
Okay. Um, and I've seen what heaven looks like from a distance. And when I go back, I read Akashic records. I'm able to go back there to read the Akashic records, which are again kept in the lowest level, the fifth dimension. And it's very crystalline and white and reflective and shades of white, but not gray. So it's very, very interesting. But yes, when my parents died, I got to actually watch the rest of my mom's soul leave her body when she died.
Mm.
And when that happened, Archangel Michael had been in the room, and her mom, her dad, her adopted mom, they all showed up to take her to the other side.
Oh,
And during the night, I had asked the angel his name. And he said at the time it was Michael, which there's millions. I never heard of Michael, but I looked up Michael, and Michael said he was the angel that takes advanced souls to the higher realms. Well, about a year later, it hit me again. I'm like, I got to look up Michael again. Something's just telling me to do it. And when I looked it up, Michael is Archangel Michael. They are the same, one and the same.
wow.
There are advanced souls that go to advanced levels. And it's interesting because I donate my time to a nonprofit called NODA, No One Dies Alone.
Mm.
And if someone's dying and they don't have family that can be there with them, I go sit with them while they're dying until they pass.
Wow.
And I can still talk with them telepathically. And every time I go, Archangel Michael is always in the room. I didn't realize Archangel Michael is always in the room because he's the one that takes your soul to the other side. With no matter who else is there, it's always Archangel Michael.
Wow, that's so
Yeah.
beautiful. I love that. It's wonderful that you're donating your time to be there with those people.
Yeah. It's important to me to know that they go into the light.
Yeah.
We have a lot of ghosts that get stuck here because someone leaves their body and they stand there and follow the body and they're afraid to go in the light, things like that. This is why I end up moving a lot of souls into the light.
Mm.
A lot of children, which is very heartbreaking. But it's important for me that they go into the light.
I had an experience once, probably about 6 or 7 years ago. I lived in an apartment complex and I had a neighbor, and I didn't know his name, but I knew him and his dog because I've always had dogs. I'm always walking them. And um, I, he was a young man in his early 20s. He seemed very sweet. And one night he committed suicide, and he lived across the street from me. And I remember being up all night long praying for his soul,
Yeah.
just praying for him
So,
and sending him as much, light, and sending him up to wherever so he didn't get stuck. A year later, I'm with a medium, and my medium says, "Oh, there's a really tall blonde a young man here with you." And I'm like, "I don't know who you're referring to. I have no clue." And she says, "He has a dog named Grok. It's a German, or not German, a golden retriever." And I go, "Oh, that's my neighbor that committed suicide. He's here to say thank you because you helped him ascend that night."
nice. Yeah. Otherwise, he would have been stuck here.
I didn't know that. It's just something inside of me felt like I needed to pray for him.
Yeah,
At
good.
the time, I didn't know he would have been stuck. And I'm just
Well,
like,
he would not necessarily, but most likely he would
could
have
happen. Right.
because a
It's
lot of times they don't go into the light when they do that because they feel that they've let other people down.
right. It's a very painful. And that's why they say people that commit suicide are stuck in that in between. Is that
Well, we are the in between.
right?
We are the in between. They become a ghost here.
Okay.
Not all of them, but some of them.
Mhm.
I remember the first time I ever brought someone through to the other side when I was first starting my training during a meditation. And it was a dear friend of mine that I grew up with. And he took his life when he was about 28, I guess. And he was like a brother to me. And I almost found him with my children. I had gone over his house. We used to go in the
Mm.
pool. I saw him, and I saw the car in the garage. He wasn't answering his door. I was going to go in the garage, and something said, "Don't do it." And I
Oh,
did, and I left. So his parents found him. But he came through, but I didn't know how to clear out all the emotion I was picking up. And I walked around for 3 days, bawling my eyes out, depressed, because this is how he still was on the other side. He had so much remorse for hurting his parents so much. It was incredible.
wow. That's powerful. So you were able to help clear it and help him ascend.
No, not at that time because I didn't know. I was still learning and training.
Hmm.
But a couple of years later, yeah, I went to his grave and he showed up. And it's interesting. I missed his funeral because I owned a business and I couldn't close it that day. So I missed his funeral. I knew where he was buried, so I went to the cemetery. Not that they're there, but since I was there, I wanted to see where he was buried.
Hmm.
And when they told me and I went over, his grave was open. And I'm like, oh my God. I went back in. I'm like, his grave is open. What's going on? They're like, oh, I don't know. Maybe a family member is going to get buried there as well. And I'm like, oh my. So now I called him and he showed up immediately. And I'm like, what's going on? He goes, my parents both just passed. I'm like, oh, so he goes, it's great. It's wonderful. He goes, I was able to clear the air with them. He goes, it's good. Everything's great. I'm happy. I'm like, oh,
Ugh,
wonderful.
goosebumps. That's so powerful. Wow.
That was nuts.
Yes. I think it's so powerful that we have the ability to help people ascend. And prayer is really powerful.
Oh, so the reason that prayer is as powerful as it is, what people don't understand, everything's about the energy. Every word has energy. The
Yeah,
cadence of the prayer has energy. When you start having the masses pray, you've amplified that energy. It's unbelievable. When you say the words, I am, and you record that on a resonance meter, it plays back the same as the word God.
I did not know that.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
We all have that God spark.
Yes.
That's
That is
all
so
it is. That's
good.
your God spark. Yeah, it's the same on a resonance meter.
Wow.
Yeah,
So those affirmations, when we are saying, I am powerful, I am love, I am light, that is
yeah,
really changing the frequency.
absolutely.
Mm, thank you for sharing that. That's
Yeah,
beautiful.
and it's all about keeping a high vibration. Being grateful, being happy and joyful, laughing, smiling, having fun. All of those things raise your vibration.
Hmm. And staying there. So these times that are challenging right now, for many of us, then and staying in the high vibration. I know for me, meditation and is key. It
But everything in life is perspective, isn't it? You
is.
know, everything, something good comes out of everything. It doesn't matter how terrible it seems at the time. Hindsight's 2020. You can always look back on your life and see the things that happened in your life that at the time you thought were horrible or devastating. And fast forward, oh, this wouldn't have happened. That wouldn't have happened. I
Right.
wouldn't have met this person. Everything that happens in your life is always happening for your highest and best. You wrote the plan for your highest and best to help you learn and reinforce the 4 lessons everybody has to learn for their soul to advance. And everyone in your life and every soul on the other side wants to see you succeed in learning those lessons. And
Okay.
everyone's working for you.
What are these 4 lessons?
So the first one is self-worth. Okay, it's not value because that's what other people put on you. It's knowing that you're so special. You're the only one of you in this whole world, right?
Hmm.
Actually, 5 lessons, I think. Um, and you have to learn how to put yourself first. It's not selfish and it's not narcissistic like society would like you to think. If you don't put yourself first, you're not going to be here to help anybody else, are you? It's that simple.
It's the oxygen mask theory, right?
Exactly. Then you have trust and communication. You have to trust that there is a higher power. It doesn't matter what you call it, there's only one. You have to trust that you made the plan. So whatever's happening in your life is happening for a reason. And you have to learn how to communicate with the people in your life, what your wants and your needs are. We don't know by osmosis.
Mhm.
Okay. Then you have unconditional love. And that's very difficult for a lot of people because they live in the drama and they live in the hurt and they can't look beyond it and see that it happened for a reason. It doesn't matter you don't always know the reason right away. Sometimes it takes years. Sometimes the reason isn't for you, the reason was for someone else. Unconditional love is very difficult, but it's something that everyone has to learn for their soul to advance.
Mhm.
Then you have money and balance because everything in the universe has to stay balanced. This is how you maintain the law of attraction is with balance. And money is energy, and it's what we use. That's why it's called currency. It's what we use to show whether or not your life is in balance. If you're working too many hours, your life is out of balance. You don't have time for yourself, your friends, your coworker, anything. If you're hoarding your money and you're not spending it, then again, you're out of balance. Money, because it's energy, flows like a river. The more you put out, the more comes back. No one is ever supposed to live a life of lack. If you ask the universe, it will be provided. Even a beggar on the street, if he wants a hot meal and a bed to sleep in, just has to ask and it will be provided, honestly. And then you have patience. And again, that's difficult because we live in a lifetime here of instant gratification. Everybody wants it now. And that's not how it works. Everything comes to you in the time that it's supposed to come.
The divine timing.
Exactly.
And it's interesting because, I think patience is totally in alignment with what the money and having the balance that, having that control. If it's out of balance, there's no patience there.
Well, people have to realize the only control they really have is in their actions and their reactions. That's all you can control.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. So it's perspective.
Powerful. So you have a book that talks all about these 5 life lessons that we must learn.
I do, and that's All's Fair in Love and Karma. It's my 4th book. They can go to my website for it, juneedwood.com. There's no S in there, just juneedwood.com, and there's links to everything.
Awesome. And I'll drop the links in the description below as well. And do you have any other service that you're currently providing? That any of the
I do all kinds of things. I read Akashic records. I read destiny cards, which are the cards of the Magi. I do astrology, numerology, any life issues, problems, things you're having difficulty with, I can help. If you want to talk to somebody that's on the other side that you didn't get closure with, or you need information from, I can do that as well. I had to find a safe deposit key recently. They didn't like the answer on where to find it, but
but they got it.
Where it is.
I love it. Thank you so much. And before we wrap up, do you have a closing message for the listeners today?
Love yourself, love the people around you, and learn to let go with love. If someone hurt you, it's not about you. It really isn't. It's about them. Learn to let go with love. It doesn't mean you have to have them in your life. Put yourself first. Let go with love, wish them the best, and move on.
Powerful message. Thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome.
I'm so grateful for our time today. And I literally could have taken this conversation in so many different directions, but I feel like this was the message that was supposed to land today. So
I agree.
I am grateful for you and to our listeners. If you are seeking clarity on anything or want to connect with a loved one, please reach out to June Edward. Her links will be in the description below. Thank you. Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Soulful Reminders podcast. I hope you're feeling inspired and empowered by the incredible insights we shared today. Remember, every story and lesson we explore is a beautiful reminder of the immense potential that resides within you. As you continue on your journey, take these soulful nudges with you. Embrace your true essence and actively work towards unlocking your full potential in every area of your life. If this episode resonated with you, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel and give this video a thumbs up. And don't keep this goodness to yourself. Share it with others who could use this little reminder too. Until next time, keep shining your light. Remember, you're not alone in this journey. Together, we can uplift and inspire one another to live fully and authentically. You got this.